Creations. This is episode 180. If you haven't already, please click the little red subscribe button down below. And if you click the little bell icon next to that, that will let you know anytime I post, which is Saturdays and Wednesdays. Although this week there's going to be a lot more. Yes, exciting times. I'll tell you about that later. So let's just get right into it. Do I have any finished objects? I do, but I can't show them to you because I've already given them away. But I made about, I think 19 more masks. And I did run out of the regular 1/4 to 1/2 inch elastic. So I ended up making ties, like four ties per mask. And so I have 19 of them, and I delivered them to a medical facility here in Gettysburg that had requested them. So I walked to the door with them in their bag, and I did wash them all before I sent them and packaged them in individual little Ziploc bags. And I had talked to them before I went because I wanted to make sure they were actually open. And they were like, oh, yeah, and actually we're just running out, so that would be great. We'll take whatever you can give us, because I said it's only 19 because I started running out of stuff. They're like, we'll take whatever you can get. So I walked in the door, and they were like, yay. So anyway, yeah, dropped them off, and my new sewing machine came in. I will show you that a little bit in the acquisition. So wouldn't you know, I finished the last mask, and as I finished the last mask, that's when the sewing machine arrived. So I am going to do what I can of making some more masks using my new sewing machine. So I'm looking forward to, after I film this and edit it, sitting down and reading the instructions and playing with it. So like I said, I have finished with, as far as all of the masks that I've made that I gave to this facility they had ties on them. I do have a little bit of this, which is 1 inch elastic. Now, initially I was like, oh, well, I can put it like around the back of your head. Except you need 2 of them because you have to have something here and here to hold it tight around your face. This is a lot more than, like the ones that just go around the ears. It's like a total of 14 inches. It's 7 on each side. Well, this is like 14 inches and I need 2 of it, so it would use twice as much. So I was like, how can I make this stretch, no pun intended, how can I make it stretch as far as possible? And it just occurred to me, because I have like 2 rolls of this, so I might be able to get a couple of masks out of it. Maybe, I think each roll I'm getting maybe 4 or 5, so I might be able to get maybe 10 masks out of what I've got left. But I had an idea. Okay, pretend this is the mask, and it does get like pleats along the side, here and here. Okay. It needs 2 straps, but to try to save on elastic, I'm thinking that if I put the pleats in and then hook a loop from here to here, then hooked to the loop, I could put the elastic, and that way I could make it stretch a little bit further. Again, stretch, ha ha ha. No pun, well, actually pun intended. It was just too funny. But the first time I said it, it wasn't intended. It just came out that way. But anyway, I'm going to have to experiment and see how I can make that work to try to make the elastic last as long as I can. So that is my finished objects. So now let's get into my works in progress. I had a 2.5 hour meeting online the other day, and guess what I was doing? I was working on this the entire time. So here is where I was at last week. You can see my little stitch marker right there. And I have gone all the way up here. So let's see, I have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rows. And I measured it, I think it's 30 to 31 inches across, somewhere around there. So, and I only have a little bit left. I have 1 more ball of yarn after this little bit. This is all I've got left of this. So I think by the time I do this and the other ball of yarn, it should be just the right size, and we'll call it done. So this is my scrappy, it's not a granny stripe blanket because it's not granny stitch, this is shell stitch. I like the shell stitch better. I'm not a big granny stitch fan. So anyway, I like the shell stitch. So I've been working on that with the correct crochet hook. If you remember a few weeks ago, I did a few rows with the wrong crochet hook. So I did that. Now I'll show you a knitting. We'll go back and forth between knitting and crochet projects. This is my Find Your Fade, which is by Andrea Mowry. I have made this before and it was entirely huge. So I am cutting it down by needle size and yarn and everything to try to make this a little more doable because the last one was 8 feet long. So last week I was jokingly calling it my thong because that's kind of what it looked like. Now we have a giant one. But anyway, it goes sideways. You actually knit this shawl this direction instead of this direction. So we started with this color. Well, the colors are showing up really well. I'm cheating today. I'm filming in my kitchen rather than haul everything upstairs to the craft cave and haul it all back down again. I decided I would just be down here. It would be easier. So then it goes to gray, and last week when I showed this, I was just into the beginning part of the gray. So I've gone all the way through the gray, and I've started into the third color, which you can see here. It's a fuchsia, and I have the striping, which is what the fade name comes from, because you're fading between two colors and then you gradually go to the next. Like here, you can see here, I started with this color, they fade or stripe back and forth, and then that color takes over. So I'm getting ready to do a solid section, and then each section has an eyelet section, which you can see here. It's very intuitive. Once you know what you're doing, you just have to make sure your stitch counts are correct as you go, because it is kind of a strange shaped shawl. It starts out normal going sideways, and then at one point it starts getting narrower on one side than the other, because you can see there's two sides to this. This would be the center, like, backbone of the shawl right here, and right now they're the same size, but at one point one side becomes getting shorter, one side becomes longer. So that's where I am at with this. And I worked on this a lot last night because Kim and I were having our virtual knit night. We've been doing that on Thursdays. Some of us have been getting together and chatting. And last night it was just the two of us, so we sat there and chatted. Actually, I was eating my dinner when we first started the Zoom back and forth with each other. She says, "I see you're eating." And I said, "Yeah, dinner ran a little late." So, yeah, I was eating my dinner at the beginning of knit night. So now we'll go to my next crochet pattern, and I am making, it's from Knit Crate. It was last month's pattern, and it is called the Seashell Capelet by Safa Amin. And here it is. Now, I thought it was this seashell stitch all the way around, but actually, if you look closely here, this looks like it's double crochet. So it has almost like a gusset on the sides to make it flare out. Now, the original pattern that was in the booklet had some errors in it, so they sent out a digital copy with the corrections in it. So I'm following the digital pattern. However, I ran across a line that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And looking at the picture, I think I can figure this pattern out a little bit, which is impressive for me because, you know. Anyway, this stuff is so soft because it's alpaca. I love it. This was my color choice from Knit Crate, it was called a berry color, but you can see, to me, it's definitely a rust. I'm checking my monitor. If you see me looking over, I'm checking my monitor to see how the colors turn out, to see if they look about right. And it does. And I've started the first couple rows of the shell stitch here. It's not they're calling it a seashell stitch. So it's kind of a variation on a shell stitch. So yeah, I'm real happy with it. And what size hook am I using? 2.5. It's a 2.5 hook. So yeah, using that. And yeah, I could just sit down and work on this. I'm enjoying it because the yarn is so soft. It just feels, it's enjoyable to work with because it's just so soft and squishy. And Yeah, I just want to curl up in a corner with a cup of tea and work on this. Actually, I want to work on it so I can wear it. So I'm so afraid it'll be too warm. Right now, it's cold. We had frost. We had a frost warning last night, and there was frost on the ground this morning. Crazy weather. Anyway, my last project is a knitted project, and I am making a pattern that I got off of Annie's craft store. It's one of their signature designs, and it's called the Chamisol or Camisol tee. And here we go. Every time I try to pronounce this poor woman's last name, I mess up, but we're going to try for it again. Lena I practiced this beforehand. Lena Skvagerson. There we go. There we go. Skvagerson. There you can see the spelling. And here's what the tee looks like. Now at the bottom down here, it has like dropped stitches, which I'll show you in a minute. I'm not sure if I like that or not, but you know, they're there now. You knit it from the bottom up, but I like the neckline, the detail right here. I just think that just looks so feminine, and it's got a little bit of gathering like right across here. So it just looks very feminine looking, and it's got some like dropped stitches, it looks like, around the collar. I don't know, I just thought it looked lacy and very, very delicate. And so I'm making it with an acrylic wool blend. It's extremely soft. This yarn is from Hobium, and I don't have the ball band, and I couldn't pronounce it anyway because it's Turkish. But here is what it looks like so far. And I have gotten quite a ways since last week on this as well, because here's where my stitch marker was last week. I was right here, and I've gone all the way up through here. So here's those drop stitches at the bottom, and they kind of make it look puckery. So I'm hoping when I block it, it'll stretch out a little bit, because I'm not crazy about the looks of this. If I remake this again, I will probably leave them off the bottom, because I just don't, I'm not a fan. But anyway, there it is. And it has sparkles in it. There you can see some sparkles. And if you remember last week, it said there was 5% Lincoln in here, and I was wondering what in the world is Lincoln. I think it's a type of a sheep or some type of a mohair-ish stuff, because I kept thinking my hair was getting in the knitting, and I kept pulling it out, and it was shorter hair, so I was like, well, that's not mine. And yeah, like I can see them right here, and when I pull them out, they're like little fluffies. So I'm thinking there is some kind of mohair-ish type of thing in here. So yes, now that I tried to de-hair it, thinking it was mine, and realized, no, it's supposed to be in here. Half of my sweater will be bald. Anyway, yeah, that's where I am on this. So those are my works in progress. Let's take a look at what you all have been making this week. Now, if you noticed on the show and tell, Kristen, who is actually my supervisor, she must be not sleeping at all. I'm not kidding. Did you notice that she's made 865 masks? Yes, she is making tons of them, like for Johns Hopkins and everything else. Yeah, she knows some people in the medical field, and she's making them for them. And I can't even imagine how much time she has put in with this. But anyway, yes, 865. I think that's a record. So in my acquisitions this week, I got this ring. I did a little shopping yet again. It's cubic zirconium over sterling silver. Now I think the Yellowstone is real. It's a citrine. That's my birthstone is a topaz, so I can go with either the yellow color or the blue because my birthday's in November. So I have a blue birthstone that my husband gave me, and then I have a yellow one that my grandparents gave me when I was 13 years old, and it's been stretched so many times over the years that the band is extremely, extremely thin. So I always get afraid of it wearing through. So I don't wear it all that much. So now I have one in yellow and one in blue. And I think this was only like $30, something like that. I got it through JTV. It was really cheap. And I think it was free shipping, maybe? I don't know. They were running a deal. So it was like $30. So I got that. And then I got my sewing machine came in. And I have ordered elastic for more masks, but that's not due until the 21st. So until then, I'll be making do, like what I said, with what I've got. But anyway, I am going to insert a little clip of the two my old sewing machine and my new sewing machine that I replaced it with. Okay, here is my old machine. You can see over top of here. There's all my sewing mess right now that I'm working on. And I've got diamond art going on over there. There's the box that the sewing machine came in. And so, yeah, we've got a little bit of a mess going on. And this pile right here is actually a vinyl cover for the sewing machine. And there is an extension arm underneath that. And there's the foot pedal and things over there. So I won't show you those. So here is my old machine. It's about 32 years old. It is a Kenmore, and I mean, it does a good bit of stitches. You can see all the stitches that it does, and I only use like 2 of them or 3 of them. But the tension is really messed up no matter how much I work with it. And then this doesn't shut anymore. It just keeps popping up because you can see it broke here. It fell at one point, and this got bent, and so the light doesn't work in it. And like I said, the tension has been really messed up. And these little feet thing here that are underneath the presser foot, I think they're called dog feet. They help move the fabric through. They work, but they don't stick up that far, so they're not really catching material. So I am literally pushing the material through and pulling it out the other side to make it work, which isn't going so well. So this is the old machine, and now I'll show you the new one. Here is the new one. It is a Brother XR3774. And here's all the stitches it does. Again, which I probably will never use. And I have and this is to get to the stitches, is this dial thing here. And then your tension is up here. And I haven't read the instructions. I have no idea what this is. I'll have to look at that. And then this opens up. Everything's taped shut because I haven't even literally opened any of it. But there's this pops open, and that's where your extra presser feet go, and all that kind of thing. So it also has an extension arm that hooks on to this and extends out this way. so that you can actually quilt on this. And it came with, I think, about 6 different presser feet. And I think there's even a double needle attachment for doing edging and stuff. So, yeah. So, yes, I can read right here. It says full-featured sewing and quilting. It's a wide table for large projects, jam-resistant quick-set top drop bobbin, which means it's going to drop at the top up here. LED work area, so there's a light in here with an LED light. It has a built-in threading system. Oh, I like that. And it even came with an instructional DVD. So it has eight accessory sewing and quilting feet. I thought it was only 6 presser. I thought it was only 6 presser feet, but it's 8 different ones. There's 37 unique sewing and quilting stitches and an auto-size buttonhole. So this was on sale. I got it from Walmart.com and it was $127. So, yeah, so I'm excited about this. I just have to learn how to use it now. But maybe I'll actually enjoy sewing again because the other one has turned into knotting up the back so much and jamming up that it's kind of taken the fun out of sewing. So, yes, so this is the new machine. So now it's time for now in our come and get it section today, it's going to be a little short because a lot of places either don't have big sales running that really weren't noteworthy, or they are not shipping things at this point. So we'll get started. Over in Annie's in the clearance section, I went looking over there, and if you're looking for some knitting or crochet patterns, they've got a lot of stuff in their clearance right now. And it's almost, I'd say 40 to 50% off just looking at it. You can see what the original price was and then what they're asking for it. So it's a really good deal. So that is over in the clearance section of Annie's Craft Store. All the links to the sales are down below in the description box. Bluprint, I did not notice anything really. Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. I did see things from Bluprint. Bluprint has sprightly acrylic worsted weight yarn for $2 a skein. Now it's in limited colors, but that is super cheap. Normally it's like 3.5, something like that per skein, and it's nice acrylic. I have used it. What did I make with it just recently? Oh, my bucket bag, my mosaic bucket bag, the pocketbook. That was made with a sprightly acrylic, and I notice it doesn't seem to pill up like some of the acrylics do. So I think it's a better acrylic than some others. So anyway, that is on sale right now over at Bluprint for $2 a skein. Consumer Crafts, of course, always has Lily Sugar and Cream for $1.97, which is like the cheapest I've been able to find any place. Create for Less. I looked over there, but I didn't see a whole lot of sales that were yarny related. They have other stuff. If you're interested in crafts and stuff, and especially if you're into scrapbooking, they have a lot of stuff over there. So that's Create for Less. The dollar store is selling things, but only certain things are they still selling online, and yarn is not one of them right now. So you can get it in their store if they carry it, but you can't order yarn online. Knit Crate is still offering their $5 for your first box of yarn, and normally it's $24.99 per month. However, you can try it for a month for $5, which is a really good deal because it is very high quality yarn. The shawlette that I showed you that I said I was enjoying so much working on, that rust color, that was from Knit Crate this last month, and it was 100% alpaca. This month, they're doing something really interesting. If you've ever wanted to try dyeing your own yarn, they came out with an email the other day because what's happened is because of the virus situation that's going on, their supplier of yarn this next month closed their factory. So they couldn't get the yarn they normally were going to use for the box. So they are sending instead 2 skeins of bare yarn, which is undyed, and you could get in any weight. You're not sure what that part's going to be a surprise. You'll get 2 skeins. You won't know what weight, but they will all be dyeable yarn. And then depending on which color vibe you signed up for, whether you wanted to be neutral or energize me, which are brighter colors, or the chill out, which are more chilled colors, yeah, more, like soothing colors like blues and stuff like that. You could, depending on which color vibe you pick, will depend on what Kool-Aid they send you. They are going to show you how to dye your own yarn with Kool-Aid. So you can make it, you can experiment and do speckles. You can do all kinds of things with this. So it should be kind of fun. This is not a normal thing. They've never done it this way before, but they said they're kind of in a fix because the yarn places are shut down. So this is what they have, and so they are sending that out. If you want to try it, you can. It's, like I said, $5 for your first box. Just make sure if you decide you do not want to continue with it that you cancel it before the first of the month, because that's when they automatically will bill you for it. So anyway, that is Knit Crate. And I have some exciting news about Knit Crate too. I've known about this for a while, but I haven't said anything to anybody. But I got a second email the other day. They are looking, I believe it's for next year, to do some patterns that are specific to independent dyers' yarns, like a yarn collection from an independent dyer, and they are looking for patterns to go along with that. And I was one of the people that they contacted to ask me to put in a proposal for some patterns. So I was excited because I didn't even know that they knew that I did knitting and crochet patterns. So anyway, there's 4 different things that you can submit for. So I sent my first proposal in. Then it's like they've got a deadline. You have to get them in by a certain time. So I actually was working on that some this week too. I didn't have to design the pattern, but I had to draw a sketch of what I thought I wanted to do and how much yarn I would need to make it to design and test it, and yeah, a little bit about it. And in my case, I actually knitted a small swatch so they could see what the stitches would look like together. So now it's a wait and see type of thing. There's no guarantee that I will be the one picked because I don't know how many people they sent out proposals to, but I just was very, very excited that I was even asked. So yeah, I thought that was kind of fun and exciting. So anyway, that's Knit Crate. Knit Picks, I didn't see any big sale. Oh yes, here we go again. I've got my notes here and I wrote things in the wrong spot and drew arrows all over the place. Okay, Knit Picks. They have their Dishy yarn, and they have this neat looking Dishy yarn. And I'm going to show you a picture of it because it's not like a solid or variegated. It's like barber poled. So I was like, those will look really cool as dishcloths. They are 100% worsted weight cotton, so they're Dishy cloths. They're Dishy twist. They're meant to make dishcloths with. It is $3.99 and it's 100 gram skein. So, and it comes in different colors. So it's different color and it's twisted with a white. So, yeah, anyway. And their yarn of the month that they have on sale is their Shine brand yarn, and it is all 20% off. Leisure Arts. I actually went over, because when I start to design a pattern, I start looking through a knitting dictionary or a crochet dictionary to look at different patterns and different stitches to see what I think might look good with different things. And so I thought, well, let's look and see what Leisure Arts has. They have several for both crochet and for knit. So the first one I'm going to show you is called the Crochet Stitch Guide. It's a downloadable book and it's $7.99. There are 86 different stitch patterns in this book. And then they also have the Knitting Stitch Guide, also for $7.99, and it has 96 stitches in this book. So they're not actual projects. What they are is just showing you how to do a particular stitch, and then they do like a little swatch of it. And so if you were to make something, you can kind of pick and choose and learn how to do things. Or if you just need a little clarification on how to do a pattern or something, it's there. So, and those aren't the only 2 books they have that are out there. Those are just 2 that I chose that were in their lower price range. They had some other ones that were like $9.99, stuff like that. So definitely worth looking at if you would like to have a stitch. It's kind of, they call it a stitch dictionary or a stitch encyclopedia. So they're always handy to have. And lastly, Lion Brand, of course, has their regular stuff. I didn't see any sales going on with Lion Brand right now. So yeah, Lion Brand does a lot of flash sales. So if something comes out, I will let you know. But at this time, I don't see any, over the top sales going on at Lion Brand. Now this week coming up, I told you in the beginning of the video that there would be a good amount of videos coming out this week. So the first one will be on Wednesday, and well, I think the first one. At some point next week, there will be a Knit Crate unboxing because April's box is coming. It's on its way, and yeah, so when it comes in, it has been shipped, so it might be here Monday or Tuesday. We'll have to see. But anyway, whenever it comes in, there will be a Knit Crate unboxing video. On Wednesday will be part 2 of our dishcloth tutorial. If you missed part 1, you can click over here and get caught up, and that'll take you over there, and you can look at part 1, and that way you'll be ready for part 2. Thursday, I have been doing a Cyber Fiber vlog. Since we're all kind of in isolation right now, I've been doing a lot of work around here, and so I just thought I would share what's going on with me. And a lot of other podcasters are doing the same thing. And it's been kind of fun. It's kind of neat to be able to document a little bit of what life is like right now. So that will be Thursday. And then there is a Dollhouse video. Now, I talked about it, I think it was last week or last Wednesday or in the vlog. I think it was in the vlog. It was in the vlog I did this past Thursday. I talked about that I was making a Dollhouse video for the library that I work for, because of course the library is closed, so we are trying to produce content for kids to watch online, like story times and things like that. So I actually did a story time with my Dollhouse and shrunk you, and then took the camera through the Dollhouse as if you were walking through it as a shrunken up person. So I'm not going to show it on this channel. The reason being is because it is specifically for children. And if you make a video that is specifically for children, they like you to do it under a different format. And I don't have a license under that format because it has to go under YouTube Kids. And it's real touchy, and I don't want to have to jump through that many hoops. And I don't want to make any mistakes either, because if you make a children's video and don't record it right or whatever, you can be fined pretty heavily. So to avoid all that, you can still watch the Dollhouse video. I'm going to put a link down below in the description box, and if you click on that link, it will take you over to the library's website, and you can watch the video there. It's on a Facebook page, and you can just, you click the link, it'll take you over there, and you can watch it from there. Just bear in mind, I am talking to children in there, not adults, so it's going to sound like I'm talking to children. But anyway, it was kind of interesting to do, because my camera is only about this big. I have a little GoPro, but some of the rooms are only about this big, and trying to finagle my arm in there and not get in the way of the camera, it took a lot. It took 5 hours to do the editing, because I kept getting my hand stuck around and showing up in the camera. Yeah, but I think it turned out okay. But anyway, if you would like to look at it, it is down below in the description box, and you can click on that. So that's it for this week. If you notice, the beginning this week was the long version of my introduction. Last week I asked you whether you liked the short or the long, and it was kind of evenly divided. So I think what I'm going to do is if I'm making a short video, I'll put the longer version in. If I'm having a longer video, I'll put the short version in just to try to save a little time, because I am trying to keep my podcast between 35 and 40 minutes tops, because I don't know about you, but after about 35 minutes, I'm like, my eyes start glazing over, and I don't want to bore anybody, and yeah, so anyway, that's how I'm going to do it. So if it's a shorter video, it'll be your clue. If it's a short video, that's the long introduction. If it's a long video, it's the short introduction. So yeah, that's how I'm going to do it, I think. So thank you for all of you who put your input in. I appreciate that. And that is it for today. And thank you for tuning in. And don't forget to stop by quite a few times this next week. Stay safe, everybody.